if you aren't happy where you are right now, um, take the jump. If you see the opportunity, do it. And it doesn't have to be drastic.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's episode of the Growth podcast. And today I have an interesting person, a friend that I recently made. His name is Nickolas, and he'll be telling us a lot about his journey. Very interesting story, and I look forward to this. So just plug in and listen as we go along this ride. Hi, Nickolas. Nice to have you join us.
Hi, Wilson. Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
Great. So do you want to tell us a bit about yourself? Who is Nickolas?
Yeah, man. Who is Nickolas? That's a great question. Well, I'm 21 years old, currently living in Porto, Portugal. Half Danish, half Portuguese, lived most of my life in Denmark, well, until I was 14 years old, and moved here to Portugal with my mom after 2014, of course. And yeah, I'm a big nerd. I enjoy
You
a
look
lot of
like
stuff,
it.
science and everything. And yeah, that's a big overview of how I am, I guess.
Wonderful. When you said you're a big nerd, I think you already have the look, right? The specs, the tranquility
Yeah, the
around you, your
glasses and
ambience.
everything.
Yeah, the glasses and all of that. Wonderful. So I read your story a bit on LinkedIn, and
Mhm.
I saw that you made a massive transition from engineering to doing what you do now, right?
Yeah.
And I just wanted you to inspire us because reading through the story, I think it was very inspirational. Um, how did that journey start from engineering to being a ghostwriter right now?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. But yeah, it was quite a wild transition, to be honest. So I've always, I said I was a nerd, and it's always been, science nerd, big, physics and chemistry, biology. It was always kind of my thing, and that's why I went into engineering. So I actually started off with mechanical engineering because even though I've always liked biology, I chose that because it's very broad and I can work in a lot of different fields, and that's what really pulled my interest. But after arriving there, I realized in mechanical engineering that that really wasn't for me. I know you really like mechanical engineering.
Yes, I do. I feel hot already.
Yeah. But I can see the value. Like, it's an amazing field. It's really, really cool, but it just wasn't for me. So I went with my first love, which was bioengineering. Biology really spoke to me, and finding a way to mix the engineering part with the biology part, that was like a big thing for me. So I did a year of that. Fun times. It was very interesting. Here in Portugal, in my college, it's between the engineering college and the biomedical college. So I got a little bit of, the scope of medicine and also traditional
Yeah.
engineering. Well, but then unfortunately, after about a year, yeah, in my first year, about the end of it, the rents here in Portugal are completely wild, and then our landlord decided that our rent was very low, so he said, I want you out, and I want you out of the house, and we'll have to find a new place. And with the rents very high, I saw myself in a bit of a pickle.
Can
and
imagine.
yeah, and I just saw, I saw how it looked here in Portugal. People, a minimum wage job, which is what I could get below that actually with part time. That doesn't cut it here, and I just started, sort of calculating how things would look, being in college and also trying to hold a part time job that doesn't pay well. So it's quite funny. I had been speaking with Dakota Robertson um, about ghostwriting. He has his cohort, And you know, it was kind of on and off. I'd been following for a while and stuff. But then one day, I was in a customer service job, my part-time job, and like I realized, I looked around me and I thought, what's my destiny here? If I keep going down this route, I won't have money. I'll fail at college, and you know, that's not a solution. So at that moment, I picked up my phone, I messaged the code, and I said, you know what, the code, I'm interested in getting into a cohort, and that's the ghostwriting and personal branding cohort. So that's really how I started my transition. It wasn't because of a particular, you know, deep
Mhm.
interest in ghostwriting and marketing. It was more of a necessity.
Wow. Um, just hearing you speak, I can only imagine how you felt being in that situation where the rent was running low. Just hearing you speak, I'm feeling it, how much more you being in the situation. Um, yeah, that must have been a difficult time. But I like the fact that you got to the point where you realized, okay, I'm doing this, but if I continue, what is it for me? What's in there for me going forward? And I think for you, that was a source of encouragement. Uh, so was it just easy? Immediately you got to that point where you realized you needed to do something different. Was it just easy to turn the other way and make that call? Or did you also have doubts around, will this work? Will this not work? Should I even try it? Should I just continue?
Yeah, so the doubts were many, many, many doubts,
Mhm.
and it wasn't a quick decision. That was the turning point.
Okay.
But it was something that had been running in my head, you know, for a long
Yeah.
time. And for me personally, it was quite a difficult jump because, as I said, I've always, you know, I've been a science nerd. For me, science was the thing. I praised science my whole life. Then all of a sudden, jumping to marketing, that was like the big thing for me, a very big deal for me. I had previously tried to run a marketing agency with a friend while
Mhm.
doing college, but I had never put college aside for it. So it wasn't an easy transition, but you know, the pain, the pain of imagining my future the way it was going, um, that came above my liking for science, and I thought to myself, this is an opportunity, and when an opportunity knocks on the door to really change your life, I think it's worth taking it, and um, and I'm young, man. I'm young, and so I'm not.
I love
I
it.
thought to myself, even if it doesn't go well, and even if it isn't for me, like I have plenty of time to go back. So no, it
Wow.
wasn't. Long story short, it wasn't an easy decision.
No, I like the fact that you're leveraging your young age. Yeah, because I think as we age, whether we like it or not, the decisions we start making becomes more streamlined, right? We don't have as much options as we would like. If a family comes in, kids, a wife, it's just a different ball game altogether. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So ghostwriting, let's go into that. I guess some people might not even understand what that fully means. What does it mean to be a ghostwriter? What does that mean?
Yeah, so ghostwriting, there are many types of ghostwriters. There's a more, I'd say the oldest one is probably ghostwriter for books.
Okay.
So the main example I can come up with now is, for example, Will Smith. He has his book, but the person who wrote it was Mark Manson. And it is very common to see that. So essentially, what happens is someone has a story to tell, and they hire a person who's proficient at writing to tell that story for them. So that's, you know,
Mm.
the base definition I'd give to ghostwriting. My type of ghostwriting, what I've been developing is social media ghostwriting and personal branding. So what it is I do is I do this for founders and coaches who want to, you know, who want to build their personal brand on social media. I I work with them to, you know, understand their story, understand what it is they do, what they like to talk about, and then I just write it for them in a way that it creates a lot of engagement on social media. And the big purpose of doing this is to get more clients for them and more sales.
Mm.
Human to human interaction is always beats human to company interaction, and that's why personal branding is important. So my main aim is to help people build personal brands so that they can then market what they have to sell and get more clients that way.
Wonderful. And then let's go to personal branding. How important is personal branding in the 21st century?
Oh man, it might be one of the most important things that you can do. I know I'm biased. I know I'm biased because
Obviously.
but but yeah, man, it's unbelievably important. More and more people are on the internet right now,
Yeah.
and it's so important to show your expertise online. It's sort of like a public resume. But the thing with a resume is people only see it when you actually send it to them. But here, people find it immediately. They see you giving advice, they see you giving tips, actionable tips, they see you teaching, they see your results as well in your company. And a big example I like to give is way more people know who Elon Musk is than what SpaceX is. And that's the power of personal branding. It's Elon Musk, it's not SpaceX, And
Yeah.
and that's the same with Gary V. Gary Vaynerchuk, the marketer. His following is I don't know how many times bigger than all his company's followings combined. And that's why it's so important, because people connect with people, as I said before. So yeah, that I'd say is why it's so important. And also, like, even for me, I like diversity. So that's why I chose mechanical engineering, because it's so broad, so many things to do. And what's amazing about a personal brand is you're never really stuck with one thing. For example, Dan Coe, he's I'd say one of the pioneers in this space, not in ghostwriting particularly, but in online writing and online presence. He started with I believe it was web design. He spoke about web design, but now he speaks about philosophy and business. So what's interesting is that no matter what you choose to do in the future, you always have a big brand to support you. You have a lot of people who know you, who know, like, and trust you, and that will always support you and ultimately buy your products if it is a good product, of course.
Oh, I think that's like making yourself the asset, right? Because with that brand, literally, if you go to or you start a new company, people already know you, people trust you. They will most likely trust that brand, and that's a big asset to whatever you decide to do. Um, so you posted an interesting statistic. So for a lot of people, I'll say maybe they are also social media shy. Maybe that's the word. And most times is, where do I start from? How do I get this going? But you posted your first, I think your first post after 31 days had over 100K impressions, and you had 1.1K followers. When I saw it, I was like, who is this guy? What are you doing? So first, how did you make that happen so quickly? Because I had to post consistently. I think my start after 28 days was like 43K. I was like, no, I need to talk to Nickolas. He needs to tell me what he's doing. So how do you make that happen? How do you bring yourself into it? Because I can see a lot of your posts are around you, what you believe, right? I know some people try to just go and grab things off the internet and try to um, put other people's contents out there, other people's story. But for you, how have you been able to come up with something that's unique to you and make people identify with that within a short period of time?
Yeah, so great question. Very great question. So there are a lot of things to pick up on. If we look at, the specific strategy of actually, getting high engagements and getting a lot of followers, there are a few components here. And I'm actually gonna straight up tell you what a framework I learned from Dakota Robertson, and that's the GAP framework. So you want to talk about you want to make growth content, and that's content that, you know, it it's made to get engaged. So it's content where you leverage big names in the industry. For example, for me, I speak a lot about writing, and for me, big names in writing, well, that could maybe be J.K. Rowling. So you can, for example, take her writing process, research her writing process, and then distill it down to actionable tips and give it to people. So that's one of the components. Then you have authority, and that's why you show, as the name says, your authority, and that's your expertise. That for me would be personal branding. Writing as well, in of itself, is also authority for me. And then you have another pivotal part, which is personal. That's the P in GAP. And that's what's going to make people connect with you. So what it is I try to do in almost all of my posts is I add some kind of personal component, something that speaks about me. That'll be, for example, it can be a short story inside of, maybe a post with actionable tips. I'll post a little short story that's relevant to the post. Or it can also be a complete post purely dedicated to that. For example, one of the first posts I made was a little bit about my story. And that's what ultimately will make people engage with you. So it's about combining these three elements. And then overall, like, you really just want to provide value to people. Give good tips, good advice you believe in, like advice you really know works. Don't just go off on the internet, as you said, and just copy something, put it on social media. That's not how it works. A lot of people do it, and they don't grow their following. So you wanna basically just learn a skill, and while you learn the skill, teach the person that's behind you. Like, I won't sit here and say I'm the best writer ever. I'm not the best writer. There are people way better than me.
You're getting there.
Yeah. But what I've learned is, I learn my lessons on writing. I read about it. I do it myself, and then I teach the people behind me. And because, as I said, there's always someone behind you who can learn from your advice. So I'd say that's the big thing.
That is powerful. I think the last thing you just said now, there is always someone who will learn from what you're currently doing. People still believe they have to get it figured out. They believe they need to know everything, but sharing the little knowledge you have, it's powerful. First of all, I think it reinforces what you know. And secondly, you add value to people almost immediately, right? Very powerful. Let's talk skills. What if I want to become a ghostwriter? Um, do I need special skills? Do I need some innate characteristics? Or is it something I can learn? Is it something I can evolve into with time?
So I believe that you can always evolve and learn something with time. Your expertise isn't determined by your innate skills. Of course, we can have more ease with learning something than other people, but if you have determination, you can learn it. As for specific hard skills, writing is a big one. Again, you don't need to be an expert, but learn the basics. Start writing online for yourself. Start trying to build an audience, and then you can stack skills. Which it's a lot of big creators talk about it now, which is becoming a full stack creator. And let's say you know how to build an audience. You know how to write. You know how to write engaging content. You attract people to your brand and everything. Well, what can you stack on top of that? You can stack marketing. Well, now all of a sudden, you know how to market a product. You can funnel people to, let's say, a landing page. And then on top of that, you learn sales. And so now you can take these people that go to your landing page and you can actually convert them into customers. So I wouldn't say there's one skill to learn. Well, maybe writing, yeah, of course, and audience building. But then it's just about, stacking skills one on top of the other so you can become a better and better ghostwriter and overall marketer.
Wow.
I don't know
Thank you
if that
for just thank you for teaching me for free. Now I know something how I can stack things up.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, man.
No, interesting. Okay, and something you mentioned, one of the reasons why you transitioned was so that you can have a bit of, I would say, financial stability, right? Is ghostwriting currently providing a bit of it, if not all of it? Is it providing that? Is it going as you hoped?
Yeah, it's actually going faster than I thought. Um,
Oh,
you know, it's surprising how quickly things can happen if you really put your head in the game and if you really go all in. Um, so it's not fully there. It's not enough to, travel the world like some other ghostwriters do, but it's getting there. It's getting there, and it's getting there faster than I had ever expected. Um, and again, just touching now, I'm going a little off topic, but touching about putting your head in the game. I think that's really the important thing. I was creating content for 3 months on Twitter before going to LinkedIn,
mm,
and I had no traction, nothing. Um, Not much was happening, and I'm not gonna lie, it's difficult. It is hard, you post a lot, nothing's happening, but that's part of the process, and you don't realize it in the moment, but you're constantly learning. You're constantly feeding new information to your brain, always evolving, always expanding. And then all of a sudden, a new opportunity arises. For me, that was LinkedIn, and things might explode. And that's based on all your previous work. So, yeah, I went a little off topic there, but
no, 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 no. But I like the flow, right? It's going as planned and probably a bit faster, but it's also important to know that you don't just start today and tomorrow you expect that because I think that's what a lot of people try to jump into. Okay, Nickolas says it works. I'm going to start today and tomorrow I should get the same results. Yes, but life doesn't work that way. You have to put your
so,
head in the game. You have to be all in. It might take a little bit of time, but once you have that knowledge, I think it just gets better from there. So, no, very powerful insight. Let's talk platforms. Um, you mentioned you started off with Twitter, right? And then you had to pivot to LinkedIn. I think a lot of people still don't understand the power of LinkedIn, and I was one of them. I think so. Till till probably recently, I started taking it a bit more seriously. Do you want to say something about platforms? I know every platform is unique, but um, how does platform play when it comes to ghostwriting, at least for post and personal branding?
yeah. So every platform has its language, you can say. Um, and I'll talk Twitter and LinkedIn because that's where I have most experience. So Twitter, um, I'd say it's a lot, how can I say this? I'd say very opinion based. If you can create turmoil on Twitter, if you can create some kind of, dividing opinion, that's what gets things going. And of course, it's important that you show your expertise, you show your authority. I'm not putting that aside, but the polarizing stuff works quite well. And then on LinkedIn, that's not quite it. LinkedIn, of course, there are polarizing topics. It might get people to talk, but what ultimately works well is actually how to advise. So again, teaching stuff to people. People come on LinkedIn either to look for work or get clients or learn. So that's sort of the two languages. But what's very special about LinkedIn right now is very much in its infancy phase. So every social media platform has a moment in time where there are more consumers than creators. And what happens is, since there are very few creators, you don't have to fight very hard for attention. It's very easy. And on LinkedIn has 1 billion users right now, but only
Users.
1% is creating content.
Wow, that's a
And
huge
that's why,
market.
yeah, and that's why LinkedIn is so powerful right now. And more and more people are realizing this. Every day I see some of the big guys from Twitter, they're rushing into
Yeah.
LinkedIn, and that's why I also really focus a lot on LinkedIn. I always liked it, but this time I saw, the big opportunity. But at the same time, Twitter is very, very interesting as well. Um, there's a certain kind of different freedom of speech over there.
Mhm.
Elon Musk, he's also doing some things that are
Yeah.
interesting regarding that. And the whole plan with the everything platform, you're gonna start being able to sell on Twitter. You can live stream now. There's
Yeah.
spaces, and it's becoming a very universal platform. But if you're looking to grow fast right now, build your authority, that's LinkedIn, I'd say personally. If you want to go faster than on other platforms. And then besides that, LinkedIn is where most of the high profile, high value people are
Yeah.
hanging out. Of course, you can get a lot of good clients on Twitter, but LinkedIn, it's literally a business platform.
Yeah.
So in terms of getting clients, it's amazing.
Wow. Wonderful. So while you were speaking, I saw the nerd in you. It's like you took a textbook named Twitter, you studied it. You took another textbook named LinkedIn and studied it because so much details in that description. Thank you. This has been wonderful for me. I've learned so much from you. I'm going to rewatch this and practice what you just told me.
That's great, man. That's great.
No, this
It
is
makes me
wonderful.
happy.
Yeah, and I think that is the power of what you're doing, the ability to add value, literally. And this is what people need to hear so they can know what to do. The world is filled up with so much information right now, right? If you go on Google and ask this question, you see tons of materials, of resources. But I think just having someone who has done it, like you said, something that works, right? I think that's just really powerful. No, thank you so much. Maybe a final question. Are you working on any projects beyond what you're currently doing right now? And is there something probably you want to tell the audience about you, for them to probably collaborate with you? Anything? Any projects for now?
Yeah, so my big project is my ghostwriting business, of course. Grow personal brands and attract clients for these personal brands. That's my big thing. Later this year, I'm planning on launching my newsletter. I don't have a specific date planned yet, but that's sort of, yeah. Those are the two big things: my ghostwriting agency that I'm scaling to 10K a month, $10K, and then my newsletter. So those are my two big projects. And then
Wonderful.
essentially, like, just helping people, man. Honestly, it's one of the most gratifying feelings to have someone come and message you a question and you're able to help them. I love it. So for anyone listening, if you have any doubts or something, my DMs are open, and I always love having a talk.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so, so much. One last word. If there's someone who is struggling to get started, maybe transitioning, what is that one thing you tell that person to do? If there's one piece of advice you give to someone who is probably anxious, uncertain about the next steps, what would you tell that person?
I'd say take the leap. Honestly, we have one life, and at the end of it, when we're 80, 90 years old on our deathbed, we won't regret. And I know this is said a lot, but we won't regret the risks we didn't take. Um, we'll we will regret the risks we didn't take. So I think really just think of, if you aren't happy where you are right now, um, take the jump. If you see the opportunity, do it. And it doesn't have to be drastic. It doesn't have to be, this whole quit college and
Yeah.
and everything kind of scenario. You can start it slowly on the side. You can still be safe. You can still, let's say you have a job, you can still have your job and then start working on the side. But just do it and don't get discouraged if things aren't going well. You know, it probably wasn't going well for Elon Musk in the start.
Yeah.
Probably also not for Bill Gates, Alex Hormozy. Nobody had it easy in the start, and that's just part of the process, and that's what makes it worth it. So take the jump. That's my advice.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And to our listeners, please take the jump. It's been nice having you, Nickolas, on this episode. And thank you so much. And I look forward to all the amazing things you keep doing. I'm a fan. I'll keep following and keep learning. Thank you once again for
So
making out the
much, bro.
time. And
Thank you, man.
yeah, take care.
You too, man. Thank you.